Last month I made a video about why I hate hen saddles. Hen saddles make chickens more susceptible to predators. Elastic straps pull, cut, and choke. Hens get super stressed out when you put saddles on them. But I insisted that regardless of all those problems, hen saddles may still be a necessary evil. Because without them, hens can lose their feathers during mating, their skin can get dried out and raw, it can bleed, it can get infected. So, necessary evil. But I was challenged by one of my viewers for saying this, so I'm gonna call her Jay. And Jay, if you're watching this, hi. Even though we don't see eye to eye on this particular topic, I respect your opinion and I'm very glad you shared this comment with me. So this is what Jay had to say about hen saddles. Are they really a necessary evil though? It's unkind to force hens to live with roosters who have lost the dance instinct and who service too few hens. I'm going to come back to that dance instinct thing in an upcoming video. I have so much to say about that myth that it deserves to be treated on its own. But as far as being careful about keeping too few hens with your rooster, I actually do talk about that topic in detail in this video here. You do need to be careful. But let's jump back into this comment and go a little bit further. Jay wrote, "When I ordered 9 hens, one turned out to be a rooster. Sure, he was entertaining, but in a year I had 7 hens in various stages of nudity. The worst off hen was drastically defeathered and mercilessly pursued. When she flew over the pursuing rooster screaming, that was it. Rooster gone within days. Hen saddles are just a patch for a bad situation. There must be ways to guard hen well-being while breeding chickens, like available space, hen to rooster ratio, selflessness of the flockster, no ego, temporary roosters only, culling, segregation of roosters, others? Your thought and care regarding raising chicks was so enlightening. I hope you will reconsider hen saddles." Okay, there's a lot to unpack there, but first I want to just dispel this myth that when you have frequent mating and you end up with bare backs, that is necessarily the rooster's fault. It isn't. Very often it is not the rooster's fault. Very few of my hens need hen saddles, but those who do are the ones who are always constantly asking the roosters to mate. So they will go up to a rooster and they will squat for him, which is an invitation to mate. My little hen Elvira is the worst at this. She will go up to one rooster and mate, then immediately to another and squat and mate, and then to another, and then she goes right back to the first one and just keeps going down the line. She just likes mating. I've also found that when you have multiple roosters in your flock, you can end up with a subordinate rooster who bonds very, very closely to a single hen. Just earlier this year, I put out a video about my rooster Rufio and this great depression that he was in. So his soulmate, Hooter the hen, died and Rufio would not leave the coop for months. I took him to the vet, nothing wrong with him. He was just depressed after her death. Rufio and Hooter the hen had been inseparable. And so they would eat together, they would sleep together, they would preen together. Hooter was a chicken she was very, very smart, and she actually taught herself how to use the cat door to get into our garage, and then she would lay her eggs in there. Rufio would wait outside of that garage door and just sit there and wait for her, and she could be in there laying eggs for a couple of hours. She didn't just go and lay and leave, and he'd still be right there waiting for her. As soon as she came out that cat door, he'd escort her back to the flock. And every night when I went to close the coop up for bedtime, Hooter and Rufio would just be cuddled together. And during the really cold winter months, Hooter would actually try to burrow underneath him as if he were a mother hen. I think she just wanted to keep warm. And he wasn't big enough to fully cover her, but he would try, and he'd be standing there with the legs sticking up. It was hilarious, it was ridiculous, and it was really, really sweet. But one of the consequences of that beautiful relationship was that they were a semi-monogamous pair and they would mate all freaking day. And so Hooter always needed a hen saddle. And so if you see hens in your flock are starting to lose feathers, starting to get these bare backs, it doesn't necessarily mean you have a rooster who's just terrorizing them and forcing them to mate too often. There are many other scenarios. That's the first thing. The second thing is that I find it a bit interesting here that Jay accuses me of being unkind for forcing my hens to live with roosters who presumably mate a lot, but yet she has no problem killing a rooster when he does something she doesn't like, or otherwise removing him from his home and from his family. Is that not unkind? Or Jay's suggestion to use roosters only for breeding, just to get their sperm and then kill them afterwards? Is that not unkind? And I don't mean to pick on Jay. She is criticizing me from a position of love for her hens. She did offer some other solutions too. She has some good ideas there. The only reason I'm calling this part out publicly is because I think her opinion about roosters is the majority opinion. I think that she represents most chicken keepers with what she's saying here. Because I see this all the time where people really value their hens. They have deep empathy for their hens, but they have zero empathy for their roosters. Nice, beautiful. They judge them so harshly. They take no time to understand their behavior, and they view them as disposable. You know, your rooster does something you don't like, just kill him. Don't try to understand him. Don't try to work with him, just kill him. And I do want to be clear here, I am not saying to just let your rooster do whatever he wants to your hens, not at all. I don't let any of my chickens, male or female, be aggressive to other chickens. And if you have a rooster who's being sexually aggressive with your hens, you do need to stop that. I have a video coming out probably next month. I think I'm gonna release it, and it's all about that topic and what to do. So keep your eyes open for that. I'm also in that video going to talk about the myth that if your rooster does not dance for your hens, that means that he is a bad rooster. That is not the case. Chicken courtship is so much more complicated than that. And the rooster mating dance is not anywhere near as important as you've been led to believe. But why do you think it is that we are so quick to demonize our poor roosters? Let me know what you think in the comments below, but I think it's because most of us don't understand the true meaning behind a lot of rooster behaviors. I think people read in these really bad intentions that just aren't there. In this video here on how to raise sweet roosters, you will see some rooster behavior that you will think is very aggressive, but actually isn't aggressive at all from your chicken's point of view. This is based on research. I have not seen anybody else sharing this online. So if you have roosters or you want roosters, check it out. Happy chickening.